Every 11 seconds, a senior gets targeted by a scam. That's faster than most of us can find our reading glasses. Let's be honest, scammers today are getting creative. They're not hiding in alleyways. They're sliding into your inbox, calling your landline, and pretending to be your long-lost grandson who somehow forgot his own last name. In this video, we're going to roast the top 14 scams aimed at older adults, from Medicare emergencies to fake government agents who apparently moonlight as tech support. But here's the payoff. By the end of this video, you'll have your personal scam radar fully tuned. You'll spot the lies, dodge the drama, and keep your money where it belongs, right in your wallet, next to that peppermint candy you forgot about last winter. Stick around, it's going to get juicy. The Medicare scam. They didn't need a ski mask, just a fake name and your Medicare number. Meet Evelyn, 74. Smart, sweet, still does crossword puzzles in pen. One morning, she gets a call from a guy who claims to work for Medicare's fraud department. Yes, that's apparently a thing now. He tells her someone's been using her account to order back braces and adult diapers in 4 different states. She gasps, "I haven't ordered anything." And that, dear friends, is when the trap is sprung. The guy says, "No worries, ma'am. We just need to verify your Medicare number so we can shut it all down." Evelyn, being the responsible woman she is, reads it out loud. Boom. Her identity gets hijacked faster than you can say AARP. Here's the twist. Medicare will never call you out of the blue. They definitely won't ask for your number over the phone. And nobody needs 5 back braces, unless they're a turtle. In fact, the Department of Health and Human Services says Medicare fraud costs us over $60 billion a year. That's enough to buy everyone in America a new toaster oven, with a backup one for the neighbor who always borrows things. Moral of the story: if someone calls claiming they're from Medicare and they sound helpful, assume they're not. Hang up, take a deep breath, and maybe reward yourself with a cookie for resisting the urge to be polite. The IRS scam. Nothing says good morning like a fake IRS agent threatening to throw you in jail over breakfast. Thomas, a 77-year-old retired teacher, is enjoying his usual Tuesday, coffee, Sudoku, and not being arrested. Then the phone rings. "This is Agent Johnson from the Internal Revenue Service," the voice says, in that tone people use when they're about to sell you a timeshare or commit fraud. "You owe back taxes. A warrant is being issued. The sheriff is already on his way." Thomas looks at his Sudoku. It's only 8:14 a.m. The man tells him to drive to 3 different stores and buy gift cards, because obviously the US government settles tax debt with iTunes. Thomas complies. He scratches the backs, reads the codes, and waits for the police to never arrive. Friends, if the IRS wanted to reach you, they'd send a letter, a boring one, in a beige envelope. They don't call. They don't demand gift cards. And they definitely don't accept payment in Apple Store credit. Over 2.4 million Americans have reported fake IRS calls, with over $80 million lost. That's enough to pay off your grandkids' student loans or buy 1 avocado at Whole Foods. If someone says they're from the government and sounds like a Bond villain, hang up. Then reward yourself with another cookie. You're on a streak. The tech supports. She thought it was a virus. It was. Just not on her computer. It was on the phone. Barbara, 79 and tech-savvy enough to put most of us to shame, opens her laptop one day and boom, her screen flashes red. A voice starts yelling, "Warning, your computer is infected. Call Microsoft immediately." Cue panic. She calls. A man named Alan answers. We're 99% sure his real name is Carl and he's wearing sweatpants in a basement somewhere. Alan tells Barbara to download a remote software program called Team Help, which sounds helpful until you realize it's basically giving a stranger your house keys and asking him to water the plants and not steal your safe. While she watches, her mouse starts moving on its own. Files open. Her bank login appears. "Just leave it running," Alan says. By the time her grandson visits, the money's gone, the screen is frozen, and Alan has vanished faster than socks in a dryer. Tech support scams are the new Nigerian Prince email, except they yell at you and steal your retirement fund while they're at it. $347 million lost last year, mostly from people just trying to protect their computers. Pro tip, real tech support doesn't pop up yelling at you like a haunted house. If it feels like a jump scare, close the window, restart your device, and ask someone under 30. Then, yep, you guessed it, have a cookie. If this video's making you laugh, cringe, and clutch your wallet at the same time, good. That means it's working. So do us both a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because we've got more scams to roast, and you don't want to miss the next one. Plus, if you've made it this far, you clearly have excellent taste in internet content. Okay, back to the heist prevention. The grandparent scam. The voice said, "Grandma, it's me." Spoiler alert, it wasn't. It's 1:17 a.m. Lorraine, 78 and queen of her local bingo night, is jolted awake by the phone. A shaky voice says, "Grandma, it's me. I'm in jail. Please don't tell Mom." Lorraine bolts upright. Her brain is still buffering. "David, are you okay?" Of course, it sounds like David, kind of. Maybe. Look, it's 1 a.m. and her hearing aid's still on the nightstand. Then a lawyer gets on the line. He's very official. Says David rear-ended a bus full of nuns while texting. Bail is $5,000. Cash. Immediately. No questions. And because Lorraine is a good grandma, and because her actual grandson has totaled a car before, she wires the money. Next day, the real David calls. He's not in jail. He's in college, eating nachos. Cue Lorraine screaming into a pillow. Here's the thing. This scam is diabolical because it uses the most dangerous weapon on earth. Grandma love. Scammers know the perfect formula. Late night call, voice trembling like a soap opera. "Please don't tell my parents. Urgent need for cash. Bonus points if it's for a lawyer." And it works, to the tune of millions of dollars lost every year. New twist? Some scammers now use AI voice cloning to sound even more convincing. That's right, they can steal your grandkid's voice and use it to ask for bail money. So here's what to do. Hang up. Call the actual grandchild. Ask something only they would know. Like, "What cereal did you hate as a kid?" "It was grape nuts." "It's always grape nuts." And remind yourself, if someone's whispering, "Don't tell Mom," tell Mom immediately. Quick pause. Have you ever gotten one of these calls? Maybe a grandkid in trouble or a government agent with a weird obsession for Target gift cards. Drop your story in the comments. Seriously, whether you fell for it, spotted it a mile away, or just want to add a new scam to our list, we want to hear from you. Your story could help someone else dodge a bullet, or at least give us all a good laugh. All right, back to the scammer's greatest hits. The sweepstakes and lottery scam. He didn't enter a contest, but somehow he won $2 million and a brand new Lincoln. Amazing, right? Meet Carl, 80 years old, proud Navy veteran, and skeptical of anything that costs more than a sandwich. One morning he gets a glossy letter in the mail with shiny gold lettering that screams, "Congratulations, you're our lucky winner." Inside is a check for $8,500 and a promise of $2 million and a luxury car. All he has to do? Call the prize claim department and cover a few minor processing fees. Carl calls. Because, well, who wouldn't want a Lincoln Continental? The last time he won anything, it was a meat tray at a VFW raffle. The lady on the phone is smooth, warm. She sounds like your favorite waitress who always refills your coffee without asking. She tells him to deposit the check and wire $3,000 to a tax clearance office. Then just sit tight and wait for the prize team. So Carl does exactly that. Except the check bounces like a rubber ball, and the only thing that shows up at his house is disappointment and an overdraft notice. Turns out you can't win a lottery you never entered. Crazy, right? These scammers love to use fake checks that bounce days later, real-sounding organizations, American seniors sweepstakes, national retirement rewards, etc. And the promise of just a little fee before you get your very big prize. The FTC says scams like this cost Americans hundreds of millions every year, and half the victims are over 65. And while Carl didn't get a new car, he did get a new saying he tells everyone. If someone tells you you've won big, but wants money first, congratulations, you've won a scam. So remember, legit sweepstakes don't ask for cash up front, and the only real prize is not falling for it. The romance scam. He said he loved her. She said, "Oh," then he said, "Can I borrow $5,000? Diane hadn't dated in years. Retired nurse, proud grandmother of 4, and not exactly looking for love, but she was open to companionship. So when a charming man named Michael slid into her DMs with a dog and a tragic backstory, she thought, why not? Michael claimed to be a widowed contractor working overseas, tall, rugged. Sent selfies with a golden retriever named Rosie. Pro tip, scammers always have dogs. People trust dogs. They chatted every day, texts, emails, late-night phone calls. He called her my queen, which, let's be honest, felt nice. Then came the emergency. Rosie, the adorable dog, needed surgery. Michael's funds were frozen overseas. Could Diane help? She sent $500. Then another crisis. Michael needed help paying customs fees to come back to the States. Another $2,000. By the time her niece Googled Michael's profile pic and found it on 6 other fake profiles, Diane had sent nearly $14,000. And the only thing Michael was building overseas was lies. Romance scams cost seniors more than $280 million last year, more than any other scam. Why? Because they take their time. They build trust. They send good morning texts and emojis. Yes, scammers use emojis. They don't ask for money right away. They wait until you care. And it's not about foolishness, it's about loneliness, about wanting to be seen. So here's your red flag list. They're overseas and can't meet in person. They have a tragic story. Bonus points for dead spouses and stranded pets. They ask for money in weird ways, gift cards, crypto, wire transfers. Diane now uses a phrase she borrowed from Judge Judy. If you send money to someone you've never met, that's not a relationship. That's tuition at Scam University. So swipe left on anyone who asks for cash before coffee. The fake charity scam. They said they were helping hurricane victims. They were actually helping themselves to her checking account. Joan had always been generous. She gave to her church, to animal shelters, to that nice kid down the street selling popcorn for some sport she didn't fully understand. So when the phone rang a few days after a big hurricane hit the Gulf and a voice said, "We're collecting emergency funds for displaced families," she didn't hesitate. They described shelters underwater, babies crying, people clinging to rooftops. It was basically a guilt smoothie with extra pressure on top. Then came the magic words. Would you be willing to give today? We accept debit, credit, or direct transfer. Joan gave them her info. What she didn't know, the charity was faker than a soap opera marriage. The video they sent her was lifted from the news. The logo was stolen. The website was thrown together on a Tuesday night by someone with just enough Photoshop skills to be dangerous. By morning, her account had been drained. The only thing she rescued was her jaw from the floor. Here's the thing. Scammers love a good disaster. The moment a hurricane, fire, or global emergency happens, they pounce like telemarketers on commission. And it works, because people like Joan have hearts the size of Texas. According to the FTC, charity scams jump over 300% right after a major disaster. And the older the donor, the more aggressive the pitch. How do you spot a fake charity? They pressure you to give right now. They can't explain where the money goes. They get weird when you ask for tax receipts. They sound like a sad movie trailer, but with worse sound quality. Joan now checks every organization on charitynavigator.org before donating. And she keeps her new favorite saying framed by the phone. If they rush, hush. Because real charities will thank you for your donation. Fake ones will drain your bank account and ghost you like a bad date. The home repair scam. He said her roof was dangerous. The only thing collapsing was her savings. Marjorie Blake had lived in her cozy brick house since 1982. She knew every creak in the floor, every squirrel that visited her porch, and exactly which step would make guests trip if they weren't paying attention. One sunny afternoon, a pickup truck rolled up, and out jumped a man in dusty boots with a clipboard and a suspicious amount of confidence. "Ma'am," he called out, pointing dramatically at her roof, "you've got major shingle damage. We just finished a job down the block, and I couldn't not stop to warn you." Translation: "Hi, I'm here to scam you with charm and a sales pitch I practiced in the mirror." He offered a limited-time senior discount if she paid $3,200 in cash that day. Said he had a crew right around the corner. Marjorie, being smart but also tired of squirrels getting into the attic, agreed. He drove off to get supplies. Spoiler, neither he nor his imaginary crew ever returned. Turns out the only thing damaged was her trust. Home repair scams love to strike after bad weather or when the leaves start falling. Why? Because that's when people worry about leaks, gutters, and things that might collapse when they're trying to enjoy a Hallmark movie marathon. According to consumer advocates, seniors are especially targeted because scammers assume they're home during the day and less likely to climb up on the roof themselves. Which fair? Red flags include unsolicited visits from contractors, no business card, website, or license number, requests for full cash payment up front, promises of deep discounts if you act now. Marjorie now has a doorbell camera and a new rule. If they show up uninvited with a clipboard, they leave with nothing but shoe prints. She also added this gem to her fridge magnet collection. If your roof's still above your head, you've got time to call a real roofer. The phishing scam. She thought it was her bank. It was actually some guy in sweatpants trying to buy a jet ski. Patricia Ellis was just settling in with her morning coffee when she checked her email and saw something terrifying. Urgent. Unusual activity detected on your account. Click here to secure your funds. Naturally, she panicked, because unusual activity is just a fancy way of saying somebody's buying stuff you can't afford. The email looked legit. Her bank's logo was at the top. The font was perfect, and it even said, "Dear Patricia." Not "Dear Valued Customer," which we all know is scam speak for "we're guessing at your name." So Patricia clicked the link. It took her to a site that looked exactly like her bank's. She logged in, answered a few security questions, and felt the stress fade. That is, until $6,200 vanished from her checking account, faster than you can say, oops. She didn't secure her funds. She gift-wrapped them. This, folks, is called phishing. According to the FBI, phishing scams are the #1 reported cybercrime, with hundreds of thousands of victims a year. And seniors are a prime target, because they check their email and they read it, unlike the rest of us. Here's how to tell if it's a trap. It says something urgent. Act now. Click here. Time sensitive. The sender's email address looks like it was generated by a cat walking across a keyboard. There's a weird link, sometimes hidden behind something innocent like verify now. Patricia now forwards every suspicious email to spoof@whoever.com, and she's made peace with the fact that no real bank ever wants her to click here to verify. Her new motto, if you didn't ask for it, delete it like it's a bad ex. And if she really needs to check her balance, she goes directly to the bank's website. Bookmarked. No funny business. The investment scam. He said it was a no-risk investment. Turns out the only thing guaranteed was regret. Harold Green had done everything right. Worked 46 years, saved his money, made peace with early dinners and socks with sandals. All he wanted was for his retirement to feel a little less tight. Then along came Mr. Polished Smile at a community wealth seminar. He wore a nice suit, spoke like a TED Talk, and tossed out buzzwords like diversification, tax-advantaged growth, and you could double your money in 5 years. Harold listened, took the pamphlet, saw the pie charts. Everything looked official because, of course, scammers love charts. The more colors, the more convincing. The man called himself a retirement strategist, which is basically a financial advisor, but with more swagger and fewer credentials. He promised big returns, zero risk. Just sign here and transfer $38,000. So Harold did, and for a few months it felt good. Monthly statements arrived showing his money growing. But when Harold tried to withdraw some for his wife's medication, the line went dead. Website gone. Business address? A mailbox behind a gas station. Turns out guaranteed growth meant the scammer's checking account was thriving. Harold's not so much. Investment scams target seniors by using everything from fear of outliving your savings to FOMO over crypto. They love to say things like, high return, no risk. It's a limited time offer, exclusive to retirees. You won't find this in the stock market. And no, you won't, because it's fake. The SEC reports that seniors lose billions each year to these smooth-talking fraudsters. And guess what? Real investments never promise guaranteed results, unless that result is heartbreak and paperwork. Harold now keeps a new rule. If they say it's no risk, walk out, hold your wallet, and don't look back. He also added this gem to his savings binder. If they hand you a brochure and a dream, run. The Social Security scam. They said her number was suspended. Newsflash, Social Security numbers don't come with off switches. Martha Delgado was a woman of order. 78, retired bookkeeper, organized enough to make Marie Kondo weep with joy. She had her Social Security paperwork filed by decade color-coded and laminated. So when the phone rang and the voice said, "This is Officer Smith from the Social Security Administration," she sat up straighter than a church choir solo. "Your number has been linked to criminal activity," he warned. "We'll have to suspend your benefits and possibly issue an arrest warrant, unless we verify your identity immediately." Now, Martha's never even jaywalked. The idea of being tied to criminal activity made her heart do jumping jacks. She gave him her Social Security number, her banking info, her birthday. In other words, the keys to her financial kingdom. By nightfall, her account had been emptied and her direct deposit rerouted to some lucky scammer's offshore dream life. And no, Officer Smith didn't work for Social Security. He probably didn't even work outside of pajama pants. Social Security scams are nasty because they hit where it hurts, your identity and your income. They love to use scary language like suspended number, warrant, and benefits frozen. Caller ID spoofing to look like they're from Washington, D.C. Time pressure to make sure you panic and forget how common sense works. But here's the thing. Social Security does not call you to threaten jail time. They mail you things. Slowly. In envelopes that smell like waiting rooms. The SSA says they'll never ask for full numbers over the phone, banking info, or your secret family recipe for pot roast. Martha now has a new mantra taped by her phone. Social Security never suspends. And if they ever sound dramatic, hang up and go eat a muffin. Because the only thing that should be frozen in your house is the peas. The fake prescription drug scam. She thought she was getting a discount on blood pressure meds. What she got was mystery pills and a blood pressure spike. Nancy O'Brien was a savvy shopper. 75, retired school nurse, and the kind of woman who still clips coupons and can sniff out a sale from across the zip code. Her monthly blood pressure meds cost $168. So when she found a sleek website offering the same pills for $39.99, she thought, bingo! Also, it was bingo night. The site looked legit, American flag logo, a pop-up chat box, and testimonials from people with suspiciously perfect teeth. She placed her order, paid with her debit card, and waited. The pills arrived in a plain white envelope with no return address and instructions written in Comic Sans. But hey, they were the right shape and color, so she took them. 2 days later, Nancy passed out while reorganizing her spice rack. The ER doctor informed her those pills were basically chalk and wishful thinking. Turns out, her pharmacy was about as legitimate as a $3 Rolex. According to the FDA, tens of thousands of fake online pharmacies are floating around the web, many selling counterfeit medications that range from useless to actually dangerous. Here's how they get you. Dachi. Insanely low prices that feel like you're winning the pharmaceutical lottery. Vague brand names and labels that don't quite look right. No prescription required, because rules are for the non-scammy. Nancy now only buys from certified pharmacies and checks everything against the VIPeeps list, verified internet pharmacy practice sites. Yes, that's a real thing. And no, it's not a 90s boy band. Her new health motto? If the meds are cheap, double check before you cheap out. Because saving $120 is great, unless it costs you a trip to the emergency room, and a story that starts with, well, I thought it was legit. The USPS delivery scam. The text said her package was stuck at the post office. So was her money, stuck in a scammer's pocket. Rita Sanders wasn't expecting anything exciting in the mail, maybe a birthday card or a new catalogue from that gardening place she never orders from. But then, ding, she gets a text. USPS, delivery failed, package on hold, click here to reschedule. There's a little blue link and a tiny fee, just $3.12 to release the package. Now, Rita's no fool, but $3.12 seemed like a small price to pay for whatever mystery item was waiting for her. Maybe it was that cookie jar shaped like a cat she'd been eyeing. She clicks. She enters her info. And shazam! Her bank account starts doing backflips. First, $1,400 disappears. Then another charge shows up for something called CryptoFastExchange.io, which she's pretty sure isn't a flower delivery service. Rita had been phished. Not with a hook and line, but with a fake delivery alert and a gentle nudge into financial chaos. USPS scams are sneaky because they come through text, look legit, and prey on our shared addiction to tracking packages. According to the US Postal Inspection Service, fake delivery texts are now one of the fastest growing scams targeting seniors. Why? Because we all like getting packages and nobody likes missing one. Here's what they use. Real-looking links, but always a little off, like usps.info.update.net. Tiny fee requests to lure you into giving your debit card. Official logos and tracking numbers that might as well be gibberish. Rita now only checks her packages through the real USPS site or the number on her receipt. No mystery links, no $3 surprises. Her new motto, if the package is real, it won't ask for my bank info. Also, if she didn't order anything, she now assumes the package is imaginary and so is the sender's integrity. The PayPal scam. The email said she'd spent $479. She hadn't, but she did lose $2,100 trying to fix it. Sandra Mitchell, retired librarian and reigning queen of the neatly stacked paper pile, was sipping her chamomile tea when she spotted it. Subject line, your recent PayPal transaction, $479. If this wasn't you, call us immediately. Her eyes widened. Sandra hadn't spent $479 on anything since the Reagan administration. The email looked perfect. Same logo, same font, same panic-inducing fake transaction. She clicked. It took her to a totally legit-looking site. Then she called the customer support number, which, spoiler alert, did not go to PayPal, but probably to Todd in a basement office with 2 monitors and zero shame. Let me help you, Todd said sweetly. We just need remote access to your device to secure your funds. Sandra, like any responsible human who fears fraudulent purchases and the collapse of civilization, complied. 3 hours later, her PayPal account was toast. Her bank account looked like it had been robbed by raccoons with credit cards. And Todd? Well, he probably upgraded to a 3rd monitor. This is the PayPal scam, a fan favorite in the scammer world. It usually starts with a fake purchase alert you didn't make, a call us now link that leads to a fake support team, and a request for remote access, because obviously solving payment issues requires full control of your laptop and life. According to PayPal's own fraud team, these scams have jumped over 700% in recent years, and the hardest hit group? Seniors. Especially those just trying to check their balance without accidentally funding a stranger's PlayStation habit. Sandra now triple-checks every email address, never clicks on links unless they're bookmarked, and has declared that if anyone ever asks her to download anything for security, they'll be greeted with a firm click and a sip of chamomile. Her new saying? If it smells like a scam and talks like a scam, it's probably not customer service. So, we've survived fake grandkids, imaginary IRS agents, mystery medications, and tech support that somehow always sounds like it's calling from a laundromat. If your blood pressure's slightly elevated right now, that's okay. Mine is too, and I'm not even eligible for Medicare. But here's the good news. You made it through the top 14 scams these tricksters throw at seniors. And now you're basically a scam-detecting ninja, with a cookie in one hand and a phone in the other, on speaker, obviously, because we don't trust mystery callers anymore. So here's your action plan. If a call feels weird, hang up. If an email seems off, delete it. If someone asks for money and gift cards, laugh, then hang up again. And if you've ever been scammed, almost scammed, or just want to help someone else avoid becoming the star of the next cautionary tale, share this video with them. Because knowledge is power. And knowing how to spot a scam is basically financial self-defense, with bonus sass. Now do us all a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another episode, where we keep you sharp, safe, and maybe laughing just a little more than you expected. Because scammers don't take days off, and neither do we. See you in the next video, where the only thing we fall for is early bird specials and well-timed compliments.